Reselling has skyrocketed in popularity lately, and it's no surprise why it's such a big side hustle. You can get started by selling on eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, or a bunch of other different platforms with ease. You can start selling today, potentially for free, and without any prior experience or knowledge. Make sure to watch this video all the way through to the end if you'd like to learn about how you can get started with reselling, my experience with eBay, and what you can do to grow your side hustle. If that sounds interesting, make sure to like this video to grow it in the YouTube algorithm. While you're down there, please also subscribe and ring the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos come out every Friday. They'll help you live a life you love through personal finance, investing, and self-improvement. Hi, I'm Evan, and let's talk about how I got started on eBay. When you're a kid and you grow tired of your stuff, your parents might have you sell it at a garage sale. Well, my dad had me sell stuff on eBay. It was primarily wrestling figures and Pokemon cards from what I remember. When I was finishing undergrad, entering my last summer before full-time employment, and wanting to get more productive in my life, I thought about eBay. This side room slash closet that was attached to my room was just full of a bunch of stuff that I accumulated as a kid that I no longer cared about. Mostly video games, action figures, and other collectibles. So I got back into my entrepreneurial roots and logged back into eBay. I started selling in May of last year and got started by selling my own stuff. And that's the first important point of this video. It is so incredibly easy to get started by selling your own things that you want to get rid of. First, you'll be getting rid of it and getting some cash rather than just chucking it in the trash. Second, it means you'll be starting with $0 for your cost of goods sold. And third, it'll likely go to somebody who actually wants it. eBay is a very large place and you would be very surprised at the type of things that can sell on there. So let's say you've gathered up a pile of stuff that you want to sell. Now great, that's your inventory. But now how do we get started? First, you'll likely need some supplies. I have a list of different items and supplies I use for reselling posted in my link tree. There are some other basic items like a pen and a measuring tape that I keep in my tool setup that you've likely already got on hand. The bare minimum things that you'll need to get started are a scale, tape, way to print labels, measuring tape, and whatever you'll use to actually ship stuff. Bubble wrap and or packing paper are likely going to be necessary too. The trickiest part about getting started is what kind of shipping supplies should you get? Boxes, bubble mailers, rigid envelopes? Well, what size, what kind, and what even is that? The truth is, it just really depends on what kind of stuff you're selling. I use a lot of bubble mailers, but your inventory might be too large to fit in those. I'm going to cover a wide variety of various shipping supplies. Consider ordering the ones that you think will best match the inventory that you are selling. But first, we're going to need to talk a little bit about shipping, and that's because this is going to affect what kind of supplies that you're allowed to use. Most of the time, the most cost-effective thing you can do is to ship something with USPS. There are 3.5 different USPS methods we need to cover. The first is priority mail, which includes free insurance of $50 or up to $100 if you print a commercial label like through eBay. This is the class of mail required for packages weighing a pound or more. The great thing is that there are a plethora of free priority mail supplies available to you if you live in the US. You can get these at your post office, though normally the best thing to do is just to order them directly off the USPS website and get them shipped to your house. Of these free boxes, the most versatile, in my opinion, is the shoebox. I ship a lot of larger action figures with these. If I have something tall, I may also resize it to fit the item, and that's perfectly okay for normal priority boxes, by the way, cutting them up to make them smaller or by combining two to make them bigger. Other free boxes include the number 4 for pretty small things or the number 7 for very large things. Then you've got the 3 different 1090s. These are roughly the same rectangular box with varying dimensions. I've really only used these to ship out board games. Priority mail rates are determined by rounding up to the next pound. 1 pound and under is the cheapest rate, and then there's 2 pounds and under, 3 pounds and under, etc. So something weighing just over a pound needs to ship at the 2 pound rate since you round up. And now once you get over this 2 pound rate, depending on where your buyer is located, it may actually be more cost effective to use a flat rate box. That's the and a half shipping method that I mentioned earlier. Flat rate is a subset of priority where anything that you can fit in the box up to 77 or so pounds is going to ship at the same rate regardless of where it's going to in the US. With normal priority mail, the cost of shipping increases as the distance between you and your buyer grows based on zones. So if you're at the 3 pound rate, your buyer is far, and you can fit the item into a medium flat rate, that's going to be more cost effective. Flat rate boxes are also free, but very importantly, you cannot resize these in any way, shape, or form. No making them smaller, no combining them, no nothing. Small and large flat rate boxes are basically never going to be used. There are 2 medium flat rate boxes. One is more boxy and is the more popularly used version, and the other is more in line with the 1090 type boxes. The last important flat rate item is the padded envelope. This is a bubble mailer that ships at $9.65, even less with the eBay postage discount. It's usually the cheapest price that you'll get for shipping priority items that are over a pound. If you have something shipping at the 2 pound rate or over and can fit it securely within the padded envelope, it's going to be cheaper. It'll also be cheaper even at the 1 pound rate if your buyer is far from you. They also perfectly fit 1096L boxes, which we'll talk about later. So let's say now that you've ordered the boxes that best fit the needs of your heavier inventory that you need to ship priority. So then how do you deal with items that are lighter than a pound? You can use first class mail. It's like priority, but there's no free supplies. The rates are determined by rounding up to the nearest 4 ounces, and you don't get any insurance. Since there's no free supplies, you'll have to buy some. Generally, the best thing to do is going to be to research best boxes for this type of item. Boxes are made in a wide variety of different shapes and sizes, so you're definitely going to find something that suits your needs. And in the case that you can't, you can always resize a larger box to be smaller. For me, action figures, small collectibles, or sets of cards, normally go in 7x4x2 or 6x4x4 boxes. It also won't hurt to save the occasional box that you get from your online shopping. Even if you don't ship something in it, you can cut it up into cardboard scraps for your other packages. I also use a lot of bubble mailers. These are self-sealing envelopes with some bubble padding. They're great for things that come in cases like video games or DVDs. I normally include cardboard scraps for extra protection for those kinds of orders. With lower value items, I may wrap the item in bubble wrap, sandwich that in between cardboard scraps, tape that together, and then put that in the bubble mailer. But now let's say that you've got an expensive item that's light enough to go first class. You may want to consider shipping it with priority mail. It'll cost you a few extra bucks, but you'll get the insurance and the peace of mind that brings. A great option for this is the 1096L box that I mentioned earlier. It's a normal priority box that's likely too small to fit many things that are over a pound, but it's a great size for action figures, games, and other small items. You should also use priority for items that weigh over 13 pounds but are still under a pound. That's because at that point, priority mail and first class actually ship for the same rate. So you should use priority since it's the same price, but you'll also get insurance and it'll ship quicker. Other popular supplies used with shipping first class mail includes poly bags and semi-rigid mailers for cards. Sizes vary based on what you're selling, but again, the links to what I use are available in my link tree. For semi-rigid mailers, you can use these for an option called eBay standard envelope. This lets you sell cards, coins, paper money, stamps, and postcards weighing 3 ounces or under for less than $1. It has tracking, which some report is wonky, but it does include $20 worth of insurance. There's restrictions on the envelope size and how many of each item that you can include, plus the contents of a standard envelope order can't exceed $20. But if you're going to be selling anything that's in one of those qualifying categories, it's a good thing to know to save some money. For the last shipping method, we have media mail. This allows you to ship qualifying items such as books, DVDs, VHS tapes, etc. extremely cheaply. Media mail is rounded to the pound and starts even cheaper than first class. And unfortunately, it doesn't include insurance, and items shipped media mail will also usually take a bit longer to arrive. Also, very importantly, video games and computer discs do not count for media mail. Finally, packages that are larger than a cubic foot or that are very heavy will likely usually ship cheaper by using something like UPS Ground or FedEx. Although as a beginner, you're most likely not going to be dealing with these types of items. So now you've got inventory, you've got shipping supplies, let's sell on eBay. Grab an item. If you don't know what it is, try Googling it. You can also use the Google app to search by a picture for it. Or if you're really desperate, there's probably an online niche group for it. Once you know what you're selling, search for it on eBay and sort by sold listings. Go through them and then determine a fair price for your item based on the average total sale of price plus shipping. The easiest thing that you can do is to select sell similar on an item that's sold for above the average amount. This will pre-make most of the listing for you. You'll need to add pictures and a description and then alter the price and potentially the shipping method. So let's cover those. Starting with pictures, taking them on your phone is likely the easiest thing that you can do. Plus, it makes uploading the photos onto Easy incredibly easy if you've got the app. Whether you want to photograph a bunch of stuff at one time or take photos individually per item, that's up to you. You can experiment with both and determine which workflow that you prefer. Try to have a dark or a white background. I normally just use a wooden table or a whiteboard. Most of the time, photos don't have to be too fancy. I tend to just point and shoot, making sure to showcase all angles of an item. Make sure to specifically photograph any condition issues. You can do a max of 12 photos per item, but generally 4 or more works just fine. For the listing description, I have a template that I've pre-written on my phone that I just copy-paste into the app. Feel free to use a similar description. I'll then add in a sentence or two describing the item's general condition or any noticeable issues. Put your item on the scale and determine how you're going to ship it. Over time, you'll get a feel for how much your boxes weigh in case the item's weight is around the cutoff between the shipping tiers. At that point, you can just weigh the item and the box together. I generally round up to account for the weight of the packing materials. Choose a weight that's in the right tier and then select the shipping method in the app. I tend to factor in the average of the calculated shipping rate into my price. So if something is selling for $15 on average and shipping is going to cost an average of $5, I'd list it at $9.99 plus shipping on top. Now this assumes that you're doing calculated versus free shipping, and that's for a couple of reasons. First, if you're starting out, it makes more sense to use calculated shipping because it's going to help you learn the different shipping tiers and where the different cutoffs are for the different rates. If you guesstimate wrong and offer free shipping, then you might be out of a fair chunk of change if your buyer is far from you, especially with priority mail, where the cost variance for items weighing over a pound is already $11. So I recommend starting with calculated shipping to learn the ropes and not cost yourself too much accidentally. When it comes time to ship, just be careful. Use plenty of packing material. Make sure stuff isn't too loose in the package. Tape up boxes tightly. Including a thank you note can be a good way to help you build up your feedback. So then the next step after you've sold your own stuff is going to be to start buying new inventory. There's plenty of options from thrift stores, garage sales, flea markets, and other kinds of private deals. But you'll need to have a rough idea of what sorts of stuff you should be looking for. The easiest thing to do is just to watch reselling content. You'll learn over time. And hey, if you're out and about, there's honestly no shame in just taking out your phone and doing a bit of research. Make sure to also research that like button by clicking it if you enjoyed the video and learned some interesting things about getting started with reselling. Are you going to get started? What kinds of things are you going to sell? Let me know. Comment down below. Click the video on screen to watch another that you're going to enjoy, and then please add some music, a reselling side hustle, or whatever else it is that you love to your day.
Just add some music.